Hey, grade eights, welcome back to the lab. I absolutely loved listening to your work last week. It was very interesting. Definitely, the quality of your vocals has definitely gone up for a lot of you. It's not the same as it was last time, which is what we want. That's good improvement. And also, the different rhythmic styles is pretty fun. So it was really cool getting to listen to you. But this week and next week, we're now going to make a final finished product that's going to be purely your own. So what we do this week is going to go and leak over into next week. So you're going to really want to try and make this week as good as you can because it's what you're going to be using in the following week. All right. So right now, I'm just looking for some loops. And what we're going to do is last week, I gave you the loop because I'd already pre-made it. But this time, you're going to create the loop. And this is stuff you already know, so this shouldn't take you long. But this is going to be purely your own loop. And you're going to have to make it something that you're proud of, something that you like. And if you don't like it, then just edit it. It's not bad. And yeah, make it good. Make it something that you feel like you can be able to rhyme and put some rhythm to, or just to make it your own. So I'm just looking for some good loops. Right now I'm just going through it all. Let's see. Let's see what we can find. So right now I want you to stay within the hip hop, trap, pop, R&B sample packs and just limit yourself to that area because they have very good sounds that you can use when you're rapping along. So right now I'm settling on underground trap mega. Let's see what they can give us. So I definitely found one I like. Here it is. We're definitely going to be using this one. All right, let's get into it. So fundamentals of making your track, you need some beats. So go ahead, find a beat you like. I like this one. Gonna drag it in. Next, you need some bass. So go ahead and find a good bass track. Let's see what we have. This one works. All right, I'm gonna drag it in, put it in there. Next, after that, some basic synths or some pads, something that works for you. I'm gonna use what we found earlier. Put in a little brass section, give it some horns, make it feel good. Obviously, we need some effects just to help it flow along, just to help give it some transitions. And then we're still going to be using some of the techniques we used before, which were making gaps. So subtraction in order to give it space so that you make room for a drop, so that the energy levels can be governed in a way that makes a song interesting. So I'm going to drag all those in, liking how it looks so far. So here are the basic blocks for my beat. Let's see how it sounds. Yeah, so far so good. All right, so this is what I'm gonna work with. I'll be adding some of the effects I've heard that I just heard as I was scrolling through, and I'll set them in good points. But right now, as we have our building blocks, remember we have to think like a sculptor. So what we have, we're gonna just be shifting it. We're gonna be cutting stuff out and making it into a solid track. So let's get moving. All right, so I found an effect that I like, has some potential. Yeah, let's just reverse it just so it can fit in a bit better in that space. See how it sounds? That's a lot better. All right, now I just need to give it some space, so I'm gonna have to try and cut out some of the beats as I extend everything as we go along. So I'm gonna give this a bit of an intro. I'm going to give it a 4-bar intro, then I'm going to give it a nice outro towards the end, making sure that the energy levels are not just the same throughout the whole body of the song, but that they shift a bit, drop out some drums, drop out some bass, put in some effects where the bass and the beats have dropped out with my bass, give it, and then the beat will come in later, bring in the energy, and this kind of like reverse hi-hat is going to bring in the transition. Just like that. That works as a good verse, and then we'll bring all the other instruments, the pads and the horns later on, just to help with the build-up. All right, I found a lead line that has some good potential. Definitely going to be putting this one in. Let's drag it in there. I'll put it where the brass is because it can work. They both can work as a sort of lead line, just as a nice melody that sticks out and gives the song some character. All right, here's our effect. All right. All right, let's find a good position for this effect, somewhere where it has an impact. Not really feeling that one. Let's try shift it a little bit. It's a bit better. It's a little bit. Yeah, that one's okay. Let's work with that. So I've pretty much got my track down. I just now need to give it a nice outro. So I'm going to be looking into a fadeaway. So we're going to be using some automation, but first I need to drag it, extend it a bit over. So the goal is to try and get 16 bars, but I've given it a bit of margin. So I've given it a 4-bar intro and a slightly extended outro. And that's perfectly fine. You need some of that. You can't just finish the song on a finished. Now you need to kind of have a smooth ending. If you want to have a sharp ending, that's fine, but it has to just work with the music. So first we need to get and click that little robot arm right there. Make sure it's on volume. Let's get out of here. All right, so let's put our markers. I like to call them nodes because they look like little nodules. And so put one there, one slightly at the end. I'm gonna drag it down because we want to give it that old school fade away, which makes it just kind of nice because we don't want it just to end abruptly. We want to stick with the mood. So let me get this back to where it was. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, we can work with that. Put that node right there, drag it down. See how it sounds. Yeah, that works. I'm just gonna try and extend just a little bit further. I'm gonna extend the tracks down just so I can get all the way down to like 0 dB. Well, it's not really called 0 dB, it's called infinity because the way sound is measured, it's not linear like 1, 2, 3, but remember it's an algorithmic, it's measured algorithmically. So let's extend that. Let's put our nodules a little bit further down, extend it all the way down till it says infinity. That's gonna be our good fadeaway. Both of them. All right, let's see how it sounds now. All right, let me shift this ad lib. I just want to put it somewhere else where the melody can really work well with it. Yeah, that seems like a better fit. That melody suits it a lot better. All right, here. All right, let's go. Yep. Bring in our smooth synth. All right. Liking it so far. Notice how I'm dropping the bass out and leaving just the beat and the synth just to help give it a nice smooth ending, a nice smooth finish. There we go. And yeah, look how the waves get smaller. All right, I'm satisfied with that. That's pretty much my track. All right, since I'm satisfied with that, let's save it, click File. And this is what's important. You're going to have to click Download and click Mix Down As. If you click Tracks, it will just save your tracks as individual different tracks. And then it won't be the entire thing. It'll just be like, oh, here are my beats, here's my bass. But that's not what we want. We want everything consolidated together. So that means we're taking everything we've just done here, converting it into an MP3 file or a WAV file. WAV file is technically what people would use in the industry. And then we're going to bring it back in. And since your computer won't be processing as much because it's just a single file, now will give you a better chance to have a good vocal take without any interruptions, without any jitteriness coming from the track. So I've clicked Save As. I'm just waiting for the MP3 thing to come up. If it doesn't come out, it does this sometimes. Just click Go to Library. Make sure you give your project a name though. And label your tracks. All right, let's try this again. So if I've gone to the library, so wait a few minutes. All right, here it is. So you have your 5 different options. You can pick any. The WAV file is technically what you'd be using if you're working with a professional producer. But right now it doesn't really matter. You can pick any. I'm just going to go for basic MP3. All right, and there it is. Now let's get back to our library. Let's open up our mix editor again. And now this time we're gonna have a fully consolidated track. That means now it's ready to have someone ram and flow on it. So I'm gonna just drag it in the door. There is, snap it back all the way. Let's see if it's the one. And right there, that's how you do it, grade 8s. So the whole point of this is to simply make a simple track, something that you can rap, rhyme over, turn it into an MP3 or WAV file, and be able to put it back into your DAW. Just remember to put the basic elements that we've talked about, whether it's dropping, subtracting, so you can have some interest in your song. And put a fade away if you want to finish it like that. Put it as a snap finish, but make sure it makes sense with the song. And in regards to your lyrics, just pick one of the other topics that you didn't pick last time. We need to keep working that creativity muscle of our brain. So write some good rhymes. You all came up with really good stuff last time, so I know you'll still come up with good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and write my rhymes for this track. And yeah, I will show you what I have next week. But right now, you need to focus on getting your rhymes in the track using your own beats and making a fully fledged song that's your own. All right, grade 8, I will see you next week, and let's see what else we can plug into.